hope we're all doing well, and I hope we can all hear me. We are starting. Hopefully, other people will be joining us. The idea for us to have this meeting, like you could hear in my prayer, is for us to get knowledge, for us to get understanding and wisdom on how to manage our finances, right? I understand that many of us, or let me say, we understand that many of us are on different journeys in our immigration. Possibly someone that is joining us here that is not in UK, because this is a webinar, so I don't want to discount the fact that someone that is probably from their home country is listening to us. So the essence is where we're on different journeys or on different states or statuses of our lives now, is important that we get this wisdom early in our lives, how to manage money, um, so that when the money start coming in, at least you start building that habit, start building that culture. You don't need to start, it's not when you start earning much that you should now learn how to manage it. Is knowing how to manage it so that when it's now growing, you already have a system in place on how to maximize or optimize your savings or your investments or whatever it is you're doing with the monies that God will bring into your hand. And again, if we are poor managers of these resources, there's a likelihood that God will not direct much of it towards us. And even if He does, there will not be any result to show that those kind of resources has passed through our lives. So part of the reasons for that, for this meeting, is to give us those knowledge and trusting God that as the word of God comes, the word of God usually comes with power. And our facilitator is a Christian, is a believer, so I trust that she will not just be communicating based on human wisdom, but God will be backing up her words as well with the power to do the things that she will be sharing with us. Um, Having said that, so our facilitator, I've known her for a while now. I met her while I was in uni. We attended the same university, and I kind of was inspired by her life from a distance. Um, I got closer to her towards my final year, and I learned some of the what's it called success principles from her, even at that level at that time. Because at that time, she was lecturing in the UNN. I attended UNN. For some of us that don't know, she was a lecturer in my school then, and we attended the same fellowship. So, and she was our what we call academic coordinator, something like that, like trying to teach principles on how to succeed academically and all those kind of stuff. That was what she was leading us at the time. And also in terms of building reading culture, I think that was literary leader. I'm not sure about that one, but I think it was literary leader that she was for us at the time. Uh,
Assistant librarian.
Assistant librarian, thank you. Assistant librarian. So, and I think that librarian something is still continuing up to now because she's driving so much in helping people build that culture of reading. If you see my WhatsApp status, you would have been seeing me posting books and all that. Most of that are inspired by her. And I think this year alone, I don't know how many books I've read, but I think I've read more than four this year alone. And it's all inspired by her. Um, and I really appreciate that connection. And I spoke to her about how coming to share with us some of the things, principles that she have learned along the years. She's not a finance advisor, right? So just to put it out there, she's not a finance advisor, but what she'll be teaching us are things that she has learned and practiced and proven that it works. So those are the things she will be teaching us. And I believe that if we get this principle and abide it in our own lives, we also see it bearing fruit in our lives. Um, so with no further ado, I already planned that the preamble should be like 15 minutes, but it's looking like my words has finished. So so a bit of um what's it called now? Kind of what's it called? I've forgotten that English. Or bit of how the session will run. Okay, so the teaching session will last for like 1 hour, 15 minutes or thereabouts. or let's say 1 hour-ish, and then we'll have time, 30 to 45 minutes for questions, right? So that would get questions because as you'll be teaching, you probably have some things in your mind that you want to ask questions about, like so that the principles could probably be tailored to your own circumstance. Um, so that's what we have in the question and answer section, and then we'll have our closing remarks, and then we'll call it a day. Um, so let me see if I can read a bit of her, what's it called? What do they call that in English? Citation. I think that's what they call it in English. All right. So Dr. Chidinma Okolo is an ex-beamline scientist. Um, I don't know what beamline scientists do. Maybe when she comes up, she'll tell us what they do. She worked with National Synchro Synchrotron. Oh, my English is not good this night. Uh, and and now she's working as a project manager and strategist with space sector in the UK. So I think the NASA version of UK is where she works as a project manager. And she's also been a trained business analyst, and she's a lead creative now. She has a YouTube channel. I think she will tell us more about that because I believe it will help some of us here, called The Quiet Learner. And she's also a volunteer coordinator of Christians Against Poverty. And she's a lifelong learner. She's read over 90 books within 18 months. That's massive, very massive. So some of that past experiences, she's been a lecturer in Nigeria and moving on to be a research scientist in New Zealand for about 4 years, and then working in Beamlight, working as a Beamline scientist in biophysics in this UK for over 5 years. And she was on UK Global Talents visa as a biophysicist and cell biologist. I think she's no more, uh, she's a citizen now. All right. And she's featured in BBC for 3 times. And she's had multiple scholarships. If you go to her YouTube channel, you find more about those scholarships. In case you are looking for scholarships around bachelor's degree scholarship, master's scholarship, PhD, an apprenticeship, related kind of scholarship, you can check those ones in our YouTube page. And then she has authored, so I think this should be a book published in Nature. And then she has also been an author in over 20, I think about 20 journals as a research scientist. So, um, without further ado, I believe I did a good introduction, Ma. I'd like to make welcome Dr. Chidinma Okolo as she takes us on personal finance management.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Thank you so much for this privilege. Hi, everyone. Hi, hi, hi. Thank you so much for the privilege to speak. I'm not a qualified financial advisor, so I like how T disclaimed that. But again, I'm not a qualified financial advisor, but sometimes experiences teach you things that you don't also learn in school, right? So I'll give a brief background on why finance is very, very serious for me, so to say. Um and before I start, I'm also going to share my slides. I have gladly send you a copy of the slide deck. I took my time to present this so that even after now, you can go back, consolidate your learning, and yeah, feel free to rewatch. I know team is recording this. Feel free to also watch it on YouTube anywhere. When you learn something, go back and consolidate the learning. So just a brief background on my journey and all till now. So I come from a low and middle income background, so to say, from Nigeria. So, when we are growing up, going to school, it's like going to school was the way out, right? Go to school, go to school. I don't know if any of you have read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. A lot of my talk is going to be anchored on the book the Rich Dad Poor Dad. But go to school, and up until so primary, secondary, I went to a Unity College in Nigeria, Federal Girls. So yeah, it wasn't so much of a hassle to be funded for that. Um, but then when I got to university, again, low middle income, my parents were business people, building materials, at a point they were retailers, then they went into becoming, what do you call it now? They went into becoming, what's the name now? Wholesale, like buying straight from the company and then distributing. So when I was in the university, I wouldn't say we were very, very affluent. Sometimes I would have to rely on those maybe meal tickets and all. So but then when I was in the university, I remember ExxonMobil scholarship. The story is on my YouTube. I wasn't qualified to apply for that scholarship, but I'll just give this my all now. So I wasn't qualified to apply for that scholarship, but I just went, persevered, and I got that funding, and that was really helpful for my university education. Okay, and then the masters, I got scholarship as well, and then for PhD, I wanted to school like get to the highest level. So what I did was I looked for. I think I applied for more than 1,000 scholarships because I mean, how am I getting the money to leave the country? And one of them clicked, so I went to New Zealand. So I'm going to be, so when it comes to um leaving the country, I think I left with like 100, 200 pounds in my pocket, okay? The pocket that took me out was not that deep, but I won't discount that there was a level of privilege for me because I went with scholarship. Okay, that is privilege. Some people, like, I don't know if you are here, some of us are students, some of us are probably working, some of us are being sponsored. Well, the pocket that sends you abroad determines a lot in your life. For me, I got a scholarship, but I still learned financial discipline back then, okay? No, I remembered where I was coming from. I remembered home. On this our topic, I'm going to cover black tax. I'm going to cover a lot of things that take our finances from us. So I remembered where I was coming from. I remembered the future, so to say, that I envisioned, and I'm not silly with that money, okay? So even though the scholarship was there, it wasn't by the time you add living cost and all, so when it comes to financial stewardship, there are lots of things that influence that I'm going to say that as I go. I just wanted to do a little bit of an icebreaker. If you were given 10,000 pounds just free, now, what will you do with that money? What will you do with the money? You just got 10,000 pounds, boom, in your account. What would you do? Would you save it? Would you invest? Would you spend it? Would you give it out? What would you do with 10,000 pounds? Just reflect because sometimes we are like, oh, God bless me with money. When that money comes, if you just see money now, what will you do with that money? I don't need it to answer, but it's just something to think about. Your answer will show somehow where your mind or where your heart lies. Okay, if you're going to spend everything, why? Is it because it's free money? So the richest man in Babylon, that book teaches us about paying yourself first. Are you going to invest it? Are you going to save it and just let it sit there and inflation eats it up? Or are you going to even give out some, yeah, I'm going to talk about the book Give and Take by Adam Grant. So if you receive that money now, what would you do with it? Okay. Um, so why does finance education matter? Why is it important? So I just had to use some numbers because some of us understand numbers, and I'm going to come back to immigration and all in the other slides. I'm going to explain some things that are really, really crucial and also talk a bit more about my own personal experiences. Okay, so in the UK, a quarter of UK adults could not cover 300 pounds of unexpected costs with their savings. Just imagine that a boiler spoils in your house, or let's say there's just something emergencies, just unexpected, unplanned. A quarter, 1 in 4 UK adults could not cover those costs with their savings. 1 in 3 adults could not last more than a month without income or savings. Okay? 1 in 3 people cannot last a month in the UK without income, like, yeah, or any savings. 35, only 35% of UK adults hold any form of investment. Now, when I show you this slide, there is something I always like to do. I always like to mirror it, and I like to look at how we are doing compared to the US to give a bit of perspective, like developed nation to developed nation, doing that comparison, okay? 35% of the UK adults hold any form of investments beyond cash savings. And then, so when I mean investments, I mean bonds. In the UK, it can be gilts, premium bonds like NSNI. It could be stocks, mutual funds, pension, like not just your workplace pension, maybe even self-invested personal pension, SIP, rental property, which is another form of investment, or commodities, gold, silver, coffee, ETFs, whatever. Only 35% of UK adults hold any form of investment. Even, I think this even covers down to workplace pension. Yeah, some people are relying just on state pension when they retire. State pension, they keep moving that the age for state pension. Please, team, correct me if I'm wrong. I think currently now is 68 years. By the time I'm getting ready to retire, maybe it will be 75 years if I start getting state pension. But a lot of people rely on that. They don't have um their workplace pension, which is why one of the things the government did, I don't know which year they did it, was it 2010? They started the auto opt-in. So once you get a job, your employer auto opts you in, and then you can now decide to opt out, because they realized that the behavior of people was that they were not actively going to opt themselves into the pension. So it's just like, let me give an example now. When you subscribe to someone's newsletter, and then the person's like, you've opted in for, let's say, marketing reminders, this one, then when you keep getting it and you're disturbed, maybe, or you feel you can't cope, you now go and opt out from products and just leave, let's say, marketing. So when people got a job, they were not auto opted in. I don't know the year, but I think it was 2010. And then because of that, they forgot to even have workplace pension. So the government now changed the rule that once you get a job, you will now be auto opted in. And if you now decide that you don't want, we helped you, we opted you in. Or if you decide that you don't want, then you can go by yourself and opt out. Why? Because they realized that a lot of people were not ready for retirement. Okay, I'm going to cover this as I go. 1/10 of UK adults have no savings at all. If you're working on the way now, 1 in 10 people don't have PIM in their account. And 25%, even those that have savings, 25% of them have less than 1,000 stashed away. So 1 in 10 people don't have anything. Out of the 9 people that have something in their account, 25% of 9, let's say that's like one in, no, not 1 in 4, two in 9. 2 out of the 9 people don't have up to 1,000 kept away. Hmm. Okay, let's continue. Let's look at the numbers. 50%, so 50% of UK adults struggle with living costs, suggesting that budgeting pressure is widespread. I'm not even sure I'm not even struggling with living costs because things like now we've gotten notification council tax is going up, this one is going up. So no matter, so that's why we're going to talk about investing later on, okay? So 50% of UK adults, what we call budget busters, that struggle to keep up with living costs is still there. 50%, half of us. Let's compare this to our American brothers, our siblings across the pond. Less than half of Americans can cover 1,000 emergency expense. This is better than us in the UK. My previous slide, I think what I should have done is to put this number side by side. I should have done that. My previous slide said we are only 25% here in the UK. Wait, was that what my previous slide said? Let me just go back. So a quarter of UK adults could not cover, which means 75% of us could cover. Okay. Here it's saying that, okay, in US, they're a bit worse off than us in terms of emergency readiness, because for them, it's only 64% of them that is only 44% of them that can cover, whereas us, we're around 75%. Okay, UK is doing better here. In the UK, in the US, they are doing better here now. 60% of US adults hold any form of investment. My previous slide, remember, we are sitting at 35% there. So US is better than us in terms of investment readiness, okay? So 60% of US adults hold any form of investment beyond cash savings, their bonds, stocks, mutual funds, pension. I think in the US, they call it, is it Roth IRA? Like they manage their own pension pot. You know how we have workplace pension here and we don't even know what's happening there because most of us either have the defined benefits or defined contribution scheme. In US, most of my friends there, they actively manage the stocks they buy. They actively manage their portfolio, whether they are doing mutual funds, they are on top of it. US people are on top of it. There was this stuff I saw on one of those, I think either Trading View or one of those finance web pages that I always visit every day. It said that even the Gen Zs are more investment savvy than millennials. So what it's trying to say is that this new, like our Gen Zs, they are catching up. They are knowing that, see, 9 to 5 is good, is the foundation of our wealth. Don't joke with your 9 to 5, but these guys know that ownership, equity, that is the pathway to wealth creation. And Gen Zs are not smiling. They're all buying their stocks. And so I'm going to come back to that later. 28% of US people have no savings. That's more than a quarter of US people have no savings at all. I think this is somehow at par with UK here. And then 84% of Americans, most Americans with a budget still regularly exceed their budget. Again, when we look at UK, America seems to be doing a bit worse than the UK. So that's to put the number, that's to put it in perspective, okay? That's to put it in perspective why finance education matters. This is why it's never, I can never hear enough about finance. See, now, even though we still read about personal finances, but we've migrated our reading again, even to corporate finances. We're learning about tax laws. We're learning about corporation tax. We are still learning. Every day is a good day to learn about anything. As you improve your walk with God, as you improve in every area of your life, just keep learning. You can never know too much. So at the end of this webinar, I think one of the things I want to leave with us is not to tell you what to invest in. No, 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 that's not. I'm here to tell you to seek out knowledge for yourself. And I'm also here to change mindsets and ground them back in books. Even the Bible. The Bible teaches us about wealth. I read the entire book of Ecclesiastes 2 Sundays ago, and I was like, oh my God. I think I've read more than 20 finance books between 2024 to 2026. Most of those finance books, Ecclesiastes summarized it. Like you can't even imagine. I'm like, okay, sometimes we become over familiar with the word of God. Ah, is the Bible now. Ah, Chidinma, I can read the Bible. I grew up in Assemblies of God. I've been reading Bible now. Ah, we used to quote this one. Yes, even though I do my daily devotion, but somehow when you've been with the word of God for a long time, it takes a lot of discipline not to enter over familiarity territory. So when I still read my Bible, but when I read all those finance books and then came back to read Ecclesiastes, I said, I think at a point over familiarity does set in a little bit with the word of God. Because for instance, the book Give and Take by Adam Grant, which I love a lot, it's in the Bible. Give and it shall be given unto you. Good measures, press. So even when I talk about these books, just also know that a lot of them are still anchored. Like you can find all those principles back in the Word of God. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide. In the state of financial literacy in the UK, as at 2025, this data was accurate as at 2025. Nearly half of UK adults report financial insecurity. Over 11 million households are still struggling with bills and basic costs. When I came to the UK, I used to just tell myself, oh God, help me. Like, even though, like I said, depending on the pockets that took you abroad, it defines your experiences. So, as a student in New Zealand, as a PhD student, there are so many things I couldn't even do. Not that the money was there, but I knew where I was coming from. Okay. I knew the discipline I had to maintain, delayed gratifications, because I knew the Bible says Jesus, for the joy that was set ahead of him, he endured that cross. I knew that, okay, just suffer now, but enjoy later in the future, which is something that my mom always taught me. So nearly half of UK adults report financial insecurity. 11 million households. The last time I checked, we have 60 million in the United Kingdom. I think 60 or 50 million. The last time I checked, because when I moved to this country, I checked our population. I moved here in 2019. 11 million. Is that not like saying 1/5? No, yeah. If we are 55, that's like 1/5, 25% still struggle. And I know this is true. Why? Because like Tim mentioned, I volunteer for Christians Against Poverty. I can't say a lot of things because of confidentiality for our clients. But yeah, poverty is real. Even childhood poverty. So poverty is real in this country. Okay. Students and student loan. Although maintenance loan help, like when students go to the university, 61% of UK students still cut essentials like meals to make ends meet. 41% have contemplated dropping out due to financial pressure. This is even harder for us immigrants. It's harder. We fund both tuition and upkeep. There's no government loan for us. So I have friends whose children are now in the university here and they're immigrants. Imagine that on top of all the things people are saying, cost of living crisis, you are still paying for visa fees. 2 years ago, my family paid £13,000 for visa fees. 13 in one year. you are still paying for visa fees. That is like a house deposit, right? Depending on where you are living. I'm in Oxford, so it may not be up to a house deposit here, but depending if you are up north, that's house deposits. But we paid it for just 1 year of visa fees. And if you come as a student, or if you are still a student, you are paying your visa fees, your IHS surcharge. You are paying tuition, and you are still maintaining yourself. Lord have mercy. Mental health is something that we should really check in on ourselves for. Yeah, it's a lot. For me, I think I had it a bit easy in my student journey, which is why I tend not to talk too much when it comes to students who you don't know what people are going through. Like I said, for my PhD, I was on a scholarship, and on top of I was not paying tuition and I was being paid stipends. But even at that, I had to live very frugally. Now imagine someone, even though my daughter was with me, which was another added cost because we were paying her childcare, her nursery fees, which is a lot of money. Now imagine someone in the UK who came here, maybe alone or with family, is paying tuition, is paying living costs, and is paying for visa. We have it tougher, and we have to say the truth about that. So that's why we are not really the same with other people. So sometimes when I see our people trying to do this, I'm like, no, delay grat. See, you are not the same with some people. Some people here, even though you are older than them, we have a lot of grounds to gain. Some people were born here. They have privilege. Like I said, everyone has some form of privilege. So even though I came from low middle income, I had privilege because I got scholarship even for bachelor's, master's, and PhD. That's privilege. Some people don't have that privilege. They did not have that. So we all have one form of privilege or another. Okay, like I said, this is harder for immigrants who fund both tuition and upkeep. And when I see people who did that and still bought their houses within 1 year in this country, I respect them massively. I'm not going to mention names, but that's a lot of discipline. That's a lot of grit. That's a lot of staying power to pay those visa fees, to pay your school fees, to pay your upkeep, and still buy a house within 2 years in this country. You deserve all my respect. Okay, because some people come here and they get carried away. Apart from what is peculiar to us immigrants, financial insecurity and low literacy impacts people across all age and income groups. Just 26% of young adults report receiving financial education at school, and only 23% of UK adults pass basic financial literacy assessments. Literacy, like numeracy, few people pass that. Okay, let me go to the next slide. This is where I mentioned, I think I had gone ahead of myself. Visa costs. Now imagine that you are in the UK. Let me paint it again. You came here with, let's say, two children under the age of 5 who are still in nursery. You have school fees to pay. You have upkeep to pay. You have visa fees to pay. And then you have childcare. Hi. Oh dear. My daughter's childcare was a second mortgage. We're paying 1,000, my daughter and then my son, we're paying 1,300 for my son per month. And because you are an immigrant, you have no recourse to public funds. You don't get the 25% tax-free childcare. You don't get anything. You don't even get the 30 hours when the children are what now, 3 years? Or have they changed it now? I know that's working. No, they've not still changed it because it's still those who have recourse to public funds that get 30 hours. Then those who don't have recourse, I'm no longer among, but those who don't have recourse to public funds get the 15 hours, although they've now made it to start earlier. I think that's what they've done. They've made it to start from 9 months old, but it's still that same two-tier system of immigrants or non-immigrants, recourse to public funds. Tuition, upkeep, visa, childcare. University tuition fees, okay? Like I've mentioned, lower wages for most sponsored jobs. We're going to open a lot of cans today. Oh. When we come here, we come as professionals, mainly doctors, nurses. I came as a scientist. Depending, some of us come as support workers or care workers. How much is that your salary? Please tell me. How much? Because I know how much I was earning as a scientist. Now, the truth is this, most of the sponsored jobs are low wage jobs. Not because they are not professionals. We are professionals. We bear the backbone of a lot of things, but somehow we are not paid the best here. If you can relate, just do a thumbs up. If you can hear me, just want to, like I said, low wage. You see a nurse is in band. Okay, please forgive me if you're a nurse, but maybe a nurse I think it's from band 7 or band 8 that they start crossing 50K. Who are those doing all the work in the hospital? You see doctors, GPs wearing out. Okay, you have to write in PLAB 1, PLAB 2. How much are you being started with? Scientists, I don't even want to mention the salary that brought me in 2019 is just that it just crossed the threshold for sponsorship. You can be sponsored with this salary, and then that was the salary that brought me here. But again, I want to say something. let's not discount the days of our early beginnings, okay? Yes, you may start low. You may, when I mean low, I mean with income wise and earning wise. But don't forget the days of your early beginning, okay? You may not be paid a lot now, but no one can take away your experiences from you. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel on those who want to squiggle or transition from one job to the other. My channel is The Quiet Learner. I talk about doctors, scientists like me, like teachers who want to maybe you can squiggle, you can pivot, transition, but that's not what today is. My point is this: when you're doing those professional jobs, look at the transferable skills. You are a doctor. I have a video. I'm not going to repeat it. Or a scientist. Like when I was in the beamline as a scientist, like Tim mentioned when he introduced me. Okay, I'm going to go to my introduction slide later. I was supporting users. I was running experiments. I was doing operations, project management, user engagement. I was writing manuals. I was publishing papers. Published in Nature, Cell. I was going for conferences. And when you look at those things, and then I was winning awards and grants. I was writing for funding. So I could be a bid manager from that role. I could be a project manager, operations manager. I could go into science communications and public engagement. So I started looking at, yes, I'm doing this job, but what other roles can I go into when I want to leave this place? Because the math is not mathing. Let me talk like Gen Zs, okay? So you start doing a skills audit. If you're doing a professional job, keep doing it. That's what brought you here. That's what made you sponsored. But if you feel that it's not worth it for you, or you're struggling with work-life balance, and all that, you can now say, okay, yes, I'm here. I'm going to get all the experiences. Maybe they don't pay me well, but they won't take my experiences away from me. Or you can stay there and still progress in that career path. Maybe it's just a question of, okay, for now, this band is not paying well, but if I stay long enough, that staying power, I'm going to reap the benefits of being long enough in that career. So money alone should not determine our moves. I'll say this and I'll say this strongly. Workplace culture, see, it's not looking like a career a career workshop. It's not a career webinar, Chidinma focus. Okay. So workplace culture, your purpose in life, in Japanese, it's called ikigai. Ikigai. Okay. So you see lots of Venn diagrams, your passion, your mission, what you can be paid for. Please don't chase titles, don't chase salary, chase value. Keep improving yourself. Those things will come. Okay. But what I want to mention now is that in those low wages job for those sponsored jobs, I know that some people are an exception to this rule. Those who are IT professionals, those in cybersecurity, some engineers, maybe some people are an exception to this rule, or those who came in top management. I don't know the diversity of people that are here. Some people cannot relate to low wages for sponsored jobs, and I appreciate that. Those in HR, maybe finance people, they can't relate to this because they pay them very well, even on sponsorship. But if you are in the category of science, doctor, nurse, care, and you were not being paid well, you can keep staying and look for ways to improve, or you can look for how to swiggle out. Again, this is not a career workshop. Okay, let me focus. Black tax. For the avoidance of that, black tax means the amount of the money that especially Africans send back home to take care of family back home. So it's called black tax. And yeah, money repatriated back home by Nigerians, Indians, Pakistani is just termed black tax. I think in the world, after Indians and Pakistanis, Nigerian, not in the world, based on UK data, sorry, based on UK, what's that thing called now? Is it remittance now? Remittance data. Nigeria was the third in terms of supporting family back home. Back home, Indians ranked one, Pakistan two, Nigerians number three. How many billion do we send? How many billion dollars? I thought I added it to this slide. $2 billion? Yeah. Nigeria's GDP is $200 billion, and we send maybe 1% of that. That's still a lot of money. That's what we send back home. Now, what does this mean for you? You are here trying to survive. I don't know. I think some people join from Nigeria. Maybe you're about to leave the country. You are paying school fees. You are paying upkeep. You are paying childcare costs. You are paying visa costs. And you still have to take care of mom and dad at home. There's this debate online. Oh, you are not your parents' retirement plan. No, please. It depends on where you come from. Some of our parents put their lives on hold for us. Some of them labored, told what they should have invested in themselves, they invested in us. For me, I don't know about anyone. I am my dad's retirement plan. I am my mom's retirement plan. So I have responsibilities. I can't behave like people who don't have responsibilities. When I came to the UK newly, this is not to speak against anyone. No, 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 no. I don't do that. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes, oh, let's go for lunch. I pack my lunch and I follow you to lunch. I socialize, but I'm bringing my lunch with me. That money, that £5, then it was going to do a lot back home. So are you seeing what I'm trying to say? That we shouldn't come to a country. We can blend into the culture. We can go out for lunch, but don't forget where you're coming from, depending on the stage you are. For me now, buying lunches, I don't even think twice about it. I can go out, spend my £5 because I've left that stage. But when I was in that stage, I wasn't going to let peer pressure or work. It wasn't even peer pressure. People want to enjoy their money. If you can't enjoy the food they're buying, still go with them, but you can just take your lunch. This is not a networking or something webinar. Don't joke with those lunches. Don't joke with those coffee. There's a book I'm going to recommend, How to Be a Power Connector. Big things come from small talks. This was one of the mistakes I made when I came newly. I'll say, no, I don't want to spend money. I won't go for that lunch. Go have those conversations. This is not networking. This is not, but big things come from small talks because when we come from Nigeria or any African country or any other place, we have a diverse audience here. We tend to say, what's that lunch talk going to give me now? Well, nothing. Deals are signed at lunch place. Connections are made. I know how many things that have benefited from just having a cup of tea, a cup of coffee with someone. This is not something that we are used to in our culture. In our culture, we are focused. We go this walk, 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 walk. We forget about socialization. We forget about networking. And these are the things that can help to pull you out of where you are, depending on the person who I'm speaking to. This might not be for everyone. Okay. Money repatriated back home. House deposits. Depending on the how deep the pockets that brought you to the UK was. Some people came here as established professionals from Nigeria. They were already working for multinationals. They're working for maybe one company, oil companies, telcos, banks. Some people came here with, I know people who came here, boom, they started earning £100,000. They never did all those 30K and they just came, boom, they just got a job here. That's it. They can't relate to what we're talking about, and that's okay. Everyone has their own privilege, okay? So depending on how deep the pockets that brought you, what stage you came, maybe you came in your 50s, in your 40s, in your 30s. Maybe you came as a student. Everyone is at different level of their journey. Please don't look at anyone. You can learn from people, but don't compare yourself. You see people going on vacation, ship cruise. Can you afford it? Yeah? Okay. That's actually, ma, don't go ahead. Don't get ahead of yourself. Okay. Some of us have little to no parental help. I have friends who their siblings are in US, Canada, like they have their 10 in their house, 10 children or 8 children or 7. And they are like the last born, or even if they're the first born, everyone is doing well, millionaire here. That's not the case for me. I might be doing well, but in my family, at the moment, I have a younger one who I'm still training in school. At the moment, it's me. Oh, there's no other person, and I'm supportive. So I'm not the same thing with them. So when I'm doing my own spending, I'm also having in mind, it's only you. These people have battalion in their house. Are you following me? Everyone's condition is different. Some people, I'll give an example. I knew someone who never bought a house, never saved for house deposits. I won't call the country and all. And then when the parents passed on, at the age of 50, 40, at the age of 40 or whatever, he just got his inheritance and bought his own house. He's not the same thing with me. I don't have that. I need to save on my own house deposit because if I get to 50 or 60, there's nobody giving me any inheritance money. Okay? You are not the same with. You might see someone, okay, maybe we are the same. Oh, shey we've not bought house now. Shey we don't have investments. You and who? Who are we? Who are we? Who are we? You are not the same thing with them. You don't know their family dynamics. You don't know if there's bank of mom and dad waiting for them. There's something we call bank of mom and dad in the UK. That is like parental support. You don't know if they have even siblings. Some people don't even need to think twice about house deposits. They have 10 siblings just for 5K here and there. They have house deposits. They don't need to even hustle. Everyone has some sort of privilege. So please, we are not the same at all. I have friends who have not bought a house here in the UK. Know that even if they turn 50, there is money waiting somewhere to be unlocked and they buy a house. We are not the same, okay? Okay, so little to no parental help or inheritance for first generation immigrants who rose or came from nothing. Okay, let me go to the next slide. How are we doing with time? I think I've spent 15 minutes. Ooh, okay. Why is it not going to the next slide? So myself, I left to introduce myself at this point. So who am I? Let me try talking about this one. So I used to be a beamline scientist in the National Synchrotron facility in the UK. Currently, I'm managing projects and strategy in the UK space sector. Team said is UK US equivalent of NASA. I would say is maybe Nigeria equivalent of NICOMSAT, which is where, yeah, so yeah, maybe something like that. When I was working as a scientist here, I kind of like started saying, okay, this thing is not really, it's not that it's not working. I got to the peak of my career, supervised students, supervised PhD students, wrote papers, published here, went to BBC. I thought, okay, all these things are good, but work-life balance is not balancing. I have children. I want to also lean in more to my soft skills, okay? So when I was 2 years before leaving, I started making my exit plan, so to say. I did an apprenticeship. I'm going to make a video next week on how to do on-the-job apprenticeship in the UK. So I did that. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. I did the apprenticeship. So I was working 5 days a week. Sorry, I was a full-time scientist, but I was working 4 days a week. And then the government was paying my tuition, £18,000 for me to study BA under BPP University. And my employer gave me 1 day off. but I was being paid for 5 days work. So this is how apprenticeship works. I'm going to do a video for that. That's not the purpose of this. And if you have a question on that at the end of my talk, please feel free to drop that question. Um, Lots of experiences. For the past 2 years, I've been kind of like very, very silent. I've been reading a lot of books. I've read 90 plus books in 18 months, but I felt it's good to share. God does not bless us for us to just keep those blessings and it starts maybe accumulating in your head. There's someone out there who does not need to make the mistakes I've made. There's someone out there who needs to know that even if they're a scientist, a doctor, like I am, PhD, medical doctor, whatever, they are not stuck. There's someone out there who needs to learn how, even as an undergraduate student of zoology, I was not qualified to get an ExxonMobil scholarship, but I persevered and I got that scholarship. The story is on my YouTube. There's someone out there who needs to know how, even though they are a mom, they are busy professionals. I have a lot of like professionals who I know that they can still read books. That while they are driving to work, while they are cooking in the kitchen, whatever they are doing, all they need is an audio book. That was how I read 55 books last year. I read 25 books 2 years ago, and today is 16th or 17th. I don't even know the date again, and I'm on my 11th book for 2026. How did I do it? Audiobook. So it's just spreading that message. This has worked for me, and this is how you can do it. So I started the Quiet Learner platform on YouTube. In my past history, I lectured briefly in Nigeria after my undergraduate. I was retained as a lecturer. I made a first class. I was the best graduating student in my department in zoology, and then I was also the best in the faculty and the third best in the university. So I was retained as a lecturer after my youth service. Then from there, I got a scholarship. They gave all the staff scholarship for masters, so I benefited from that. And then I grew. I think I got more than 1,000 unsuccessful. I kept applying for overseas scholarships. Even the people I sent links to apply for scholarships. One of my friend applied, came to the UK. The same scholarship I did not get, but the next year, as God would have it, I got a scholarship to New Zealand, fully funded, PhD in cardiovascular physiology. It covered my tuition and covered my living costs. I'm not a qualified financial advisor, but I know what it means to leave Nigeria with £200 and still build that. I'm not even, I don't think I'm rich, but to build something from nothing. Okay. And even though I know that I still had privilege, I had a scholarship, I had tuition. So it's even harder for people who did not have. But I know someone in this call who paid tuition, who paid living costs, who paid visa fees, and still bought a house 2 years in the UK. Massive respect. So it's still doable. Yes, I had privilege, but don't also forget that I also have children and I was still paying childcare fees and all. Okay, so from New Zealand, after how many years there? 4 years. I came to the UK. I was sponsored to work as a beamline scientist, so that was more like doing biophysics. 1 year into the UK, I changed from the tier 2 skilled migrant visa to a global talent visa. I was endorsed under biophysics and cell biology. I've been on BBC 3 times. Like I said, I've enjoyed the benefit of scholarships, bachelor's, master's, PhD, apprenticeship. So there's something I noticed. I wouldn't say it's the grace of God on my life, but there's something I've noticed. If I decide to learn something, God sends help. God sends it in a way. Even to start my YouTube channel, God sent someone it is not an easy journey, but like I did not struggle like others. So when I decide to learn something, and I don't joke with studying, because even though I've had it free, I know the value of people who pay for it. So I don't, even when I read books, I tell you on my YouTube channel, I'll tell you where to find free audiobooks. Please place value on things you have, even if it's free. People spend money on books, like they buy. Sometimes even you need to spend money on learning. I buy some books, so even though I know where to get them on Libby, on the Libby app, is a government app funded by your taxpayer money. I still buy some of them. If they are really good, I still go ahead, buy some of them. Um, yeah, so published over 20 journals, Nature, Cell, and all. Let's move on, please. How are we doing for time? I think I have 15 more minutes. So why does personal finance matter? Money affects every part of our life. Money does not guarantee happiness. Money does not lead to happiness. But guess what? Money solves money problems. Money problems are like 80% of our life. So if money can solve money problems, it guarantees at least 80% happiness. Okay? Money affects every part of our life. See, from the moment you wake up, you have electricity, you're paying the bills. From the moment you go to shower, you're paying for water bill. You step out of your house, you enter the car, you're paying for the fuel. You enter the bus, you paid your bus ticket. Money affects every part of our life, and money affects our mental health and all that. Okay. It controls the degree of freedom. It brings freedom. Some people can wake up tomorrow and say, no, this job is not for me. And they leave because they have emergency funds that can fund them for 1 year. I know someone who did that. Okay, I know someone who did that. So, okay. So so financial wisdom is a life skill, and stewardship builds opportunity. I'm halfway through now, and I'm going to speed up now because I know we don't have time. So the foundation of personal finances, number one, income and earning. Your salary, don't neglect your salary, okay? Your 9 to 5 is the foundation of your financial journey, okay? Whether it's side hustles or diversified income streams, dividends, passive income, like you have courses, you have books, public speaking, whatever, income is the foundation. These are the foundations of personal finance. Expenditures, outgoings, debts, fixed costs, wants, travels, needs, black tax, savings. So we have income, expenditure, and savings, what you keep after. This could be savings, investments, bonds, and pension. And at this point, I'm going to recommend books. One book I'll recommend is The Richest Man in Babylon. One of the things that book says is once you get this income here, pay yourself first. Automate your investing so that you don't even think about it, okay? Before your outgoings go, make sure you've automated savings and investments. We're going to talk about it in the next slide. Okay? So the foundation of personal finance still going. We've talked about income, we've talked about expenditure, we've talked about savings, and now this is where budgeting comes in. All right, you have to have a budget. We have a spreadsheet in my family. Income. I even track down to okay the things in this year. Where have our expenses gone to? Okay, budgeting. Please have an Excel sheet. Some people have some of the financial advisors online, like Martin Lewis. They have this personal like budgeting spreadsheet that you can download. I created my own because my family circumstances were unique to us. So you have your income. If you are married, you have husband, wife income, and then you have your expenses and then have how much you're saving. If you are single, then it's going to be a personal budget. All right. Giving, giving, give, and it shall be given unto you. What you give out there comes back. So I'm not going to run a finance course as a finance education course as a Christian, as a giver, without mentioning giving, charitable giving, knowledge share. You know something. It is, in my own words, it's an abomination for me, Chidinma, to know something, and someone beside me is suffering. God forbid. Knowledge share. Help people. Do you want them to suffer what you've suffered? Just help. If I am close to you, I give you 10 years of my experience. You don't have to make the same. Your life should be better than my life. You don't have to suffer like I've suffered. But it takes a lot to get to this mindset of giving, giving. See, it has a way of coming back to you. Don't just do to someone because they've done for you. Okay, even to your enemies, in quotes, if you have enemies, because one of the videos I watched said we have 1% friends, 4% enemies, and the rest of the 97% don't actually care about us. They're just spectators in our lives. Even those people, give unto them. That is what the Bible commands. Okay, you don't return um good. You don't pay back evil for evil. Okay, just give. The Bible says by so doing you're heaping coal on their heads. Apart from income, apart from expenses, apart from savings and investing, budgeting and giving, protection. How do you protect yourself as a person? Your investments. You have a mortgage. Do you have mortgage protection or life insurance? You are traveling. Please, have you insured yourself and even your luggages? I have a friend, she was traveling with like maybe some luxury items and it got missing. Insurance will help with that. All right. Risk is just risk management. Even if you are investing or trading, risk management. Are you investing what you can afford to lose? You've not bought a house. What are you doing with what are you you've not bought a house, maybe you don't have your house deposit. There are some investments that you should not be dabbling into. First things first, protection, risk management. Ground yourself, save first before you now start from the less risky things, which would be savings. Is less risky. Your money is in the bank. It's FSCS protected. FSCS is there in the UK. Okay, you start from the less risky thing, property, bonds. I'm going to mention them later before you now go to the riskier stuff, stocks, crypto. Okay, first things first. Is it don't put the horse before the cart? One of those English words. Okay, so I'm going to start with income. So mindset before money. I always say this thing before I talk to anyone about finances. I'm like, wealth starts from the mind. Your mind moves before your pocket catches up. This is true. There is a level you can't get to basically if your mind is still stuck somewhere. Some people are too afraid to give. See, being afraid to give means there's a scarcity mindset. Oh, if I give it to finish, give. Not unwisely, of course, but be generous within reason. Who was I listening to said have a giving budget. You have this your income. Say make up your mind that 1% of my income goes towards charity, towards giving. That is financial stewardship. You are not being unwise with your giving, but you have in your heart a corner for helping people. Okay? Discipline. beats motivation. And I'm going to talk about structures here. Structures. Don't rely on when you are happy to save. Don't rely on when you feel motivated to invest. Automate it. Mindset before money. Delayed gratification always wins. I think I've mentioned this in my introductory slides. Consistency is what builds wealth. Not you save today or invest today, you don't invest tomorrow. Every month. See, even if it's £20, automate it. It goes. There's something we call dollar cost averaging. It goes. Every month it goes. In 10 years, give your £20 time. So money, mindset, and time. Give it time and see compounding work in your favor. There's a place for those who want to trade. That's fine if you bought. I'm telling you that you can't even time that market. Long term always wins. Let compounding work in your favor. Sit back, relax, automate it, and forget about it. Okay? Reading buckets, what I'll recommend for you if you're starting, depending on where you are in your journey, reading buckets. Read about human behavior. Understand yourself first. Why am I anxious? Why am I afraid? Some people would never invest in the stock market. Why? They're afraid. They have to conquer themselves first. So read, I need to understand myself. I need to understand Chidinma. Chidinma, why are you like this? Why can't you wait? Why are you impatient? Understand yourself. Understand people. Understand the market. Understand how things happen. So human behavior, psychology, managing your emotions. Okay, I've read the book How to uh, thanks for the feedback. It helps you know how to receive feedback well. All these are on my YouTube channel. Then you now read about money and wealth. I would say start from human behavior, understand yourself, understand others, psychology, emotions. If you are in the stock market or anywhere, you need to know how to wait. Even when it's crashing, you wait. In fact, that's the time to buy. Warren Buffett said something. Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. When others are fearful, that's the time to buy. When others are greedy, boo, boo, boo. Emotions, managing your emotions. FOMO, fear of missing out. Don't let it get to you. Money, then you can now go into money and wealth, and then career pivots and moves. These are the reading buckets. When I say reading buckets, reading categories that I recommend for this webinar. Okay, how much time do I have? 7 more minutes. Yeah, we can do it. I think I spent time laying a good foundation so we understand why we are doing what we are doing. The 5 pillars of financial success. So I would like you to build your money map. This slide deck is shareable at the end of this webinar. Your money map. Write down your income. How much am I earning? Your expenses, your savings, and your investments. Have a pie, okay? Then calculate your saving rate. If you are earning £2,000 net income and you are saving £200, you are doing well. Your savings rate is 10%. Okay. How much is going out? How much are you investing? Maybe 10%. You're doing well. So it's not necessarily that you're saving £20 or investing £20 or £200. Compared to your income, how much are you doing? So that's your savings rate, your investment rate. Okay. Build your own money map. Everyone's journey is different. If you're in a stage where you can't even bring out £200 to invest, there is no problem. Can you bring out £5? Please put that your £5 in investment. Can you sacrifice a cup of coffee to buy Starbucks? I'm not recommending any stocks. I'm just doing parallels. Can you sacrifice buying an iPhone this year to buy an Apple stock? Then do it. If you're consuming, you're consuming their products, but you're not buying. You're using their products, okay? Someone said that someone who kept changing iPhones every year and someone who used that same money to invest in iPhones, that person becomes a millionaire in 10 years. Just an example. We need to move from consumption to production. 9 to 5 is the foundation of our financial journey. It lays a solid foundation, 9 to 5, like your day job. But most times, except you gotten to the level of earning £1 million or £350, £500,000, that will not necessarily make you wealthy. Wealth comes from ownership, equity, equity, house equity, stocks equity, having your own company. This is where wealth starts from. Okay. 9 to 5 is good. Please don't look down on your 9 to 5. It is foundation. It tests your stewardship. That little you have, not even little. Some people are doing very well in 9 to 5. That's one God has committed into your hands. What are you doing with it? But when you want to talk about wealth, equity, ownership, your company, your house, ownership in stocks, publicly traded stocks, okay? And then, yeah, I don't think this is a good place to talk about credit. No, we're trying to build the foundation on this thing, but wealthy people use other people's money. If you are at that level where you understand what I'm saying, well done. Okay, so the 5 pillars of financial success, budgeting. Okay, there is something that is called 50-30-20 rule. Martin Lewis also talks about this. Okay, 50% goes to your needs, rent, mortgage, food, drink, utilities, transport. Yeah. Clothing and all. 30% goes to your wants. Okay, holidays, maybe if you are at a stage where you can afford holidays, eating out, like I mentioned, going for lunch, place walk. I wasn't even doing that before. So when I came to this country, because of childcare, because I did this. I had my expenses and I plotted my own chart. I did it. I did this what's this called now? Pie chart. Yeah, pie chart for myself. My needs were at 70% because I was paying for childcare, remember, which was £1,400 every month. As a family, our needs were 70%. It meant that we could not go on vacations. For the first 5 years in this country, we could not go on vacations. We could hardly eat out except for special occasions. Entertainment, maybe a little. So what I'm trying to say is that if your needs, because you're paying for tuition, because you're paying for upkeep, if it's so much, you might actually be using 80% up. You don't have allowance for wants. But at any point you must always have future. If your needs are 80%, please don't go and do 30% once. That's taking you at 110. That's debt. And then you don't have anything saved for your future. So that's where reading books or listening to people like Martin Lewis. On Instagram, I follow Ronke Odewumi. If you're following her, she has about 106K followers. She's a certified financial advisor. I love to learn from these people who went to school to do this thing. Okay, Martin Lewis, I follow him everywhere. I follow him. He's one. Even I think he goes live on ITV. He's in. So he's someone that, because he's doing it from a very, very good place. Okay. So your wants, if your needs are too much here at 80%, please, we're going to leave out these wants, okay? It's not for now. That's where we now push the gratification. We delay it for the future, but we must always save for the future. We must always invest. We must always have emergency funds, no matter what our needs are. And this is where delayed gratification comes in. You now boycott those ones. Next slide. Saving and emergency funds. Save before spending. Like I said, once your income comes in, automate your savings before your outgoings go out, savings or investments. Make sure you have 3 to 6 months emergency funds and protect yourselves from shock. Always ask yourself, if I lose my job today, how can I cope in 3 months, in 6 months? And your emergency funds should even be higher if you have children. They're depending on you. Okay. So save before you spend. Build 3 to 6 months. This is also even more relevant if you have a mortgage or a house in the UK. Your financial advisor or your mortgage advisor, when you are buying your house, will tell you, make sure you have your emergency funds. Okay. And protect yourself from shocks. Okay. You take a mortgage, please go and get an insurance for the mortgage. You are traveling, £20, you have bought travel insurance. Don't be penny wise, okay? Please just spend that when it comes to protecting yourself, your income. Please don't joke with insurance. It might look like you're spending a lot, but it saves you from a lot in the future. So it's not just about investing. It's not just about earning. It's not just about getting those mortgage and all. How are you protected? You are in a country where things work. You get a mortgage, have insurance, have a mortgage protection. You get this, you're traveling with your laptop, you're traveling with something valuable. Even if you're not traveling with anything valuable, the fact that you're traveling, buy a travel insurance. Okay. Investing, we have 2 minutes more, and I'm on slide number 15. Not bad. Make your money work for you. So when you invest, normally if your money sits in your bank account just being saved, how much interest are you being given? Your interest is basically maybe just tracking, it's not really even tracking inflation. So when your money sits there, inflation, which is how expensive lifestyle and everything is getting, eats into that's your power. If you could buy, if this iPhone was 1,000 last year, and you have 1,000 in your bank account. Next year, if this iPhone becomes 1,000, this is not an iPhone anyway, if the phone becomes 1,200, that 1,000 in your account cannot buy the phone again because inflation has happened. So it has eaten into your purchasing power. Okay. So when you invest, your money is growing above the rate of inflation. Investing beats savings. Even though you still need to save your emergency funds, you have to save and all. And when you finish that, start investing. Like I said, you start from the things that are less risky before you go into things that are riskier. Stocks, funds, mutual funds, bonds, property, business, starting up your own business. Diversify your income stream, long-term mindset, and the power of compounding. Always think long-term. Let compounding work for you. I told you, if you don't have £200, £1,000 to invest monthly, it's fine. You have £3, you have £1, you have £5, a cup of coffee. Invest it. Start small. Don't wait until it's big. All right. I have a brother still an undergraduate in university in Nigeria. He has set up his own investment portfolio. I make sure that when I give him his stipends, he's investing in some stocks. He's still young, but he's doing it. So common money mistakes. I'm going to go on to legacy now, which is the last part of the slide. So far we've talked about income, budgets, savings, investments, and legacy. Living above our means, keeping up with the Joneses. No budgets, no savings, fear of investing. Please read books. They will help move your mind if you're having problems with this. Read books, talk to people, talk to a financial advisor, and let them understand what the problem is. Impulse spending. Remember, sometimes there's this thread I posted one time. There are different levels of wealth. Some people are probably in level one. They're just they're just making ends meet. They're still in debt. Level 2, they're still in debt. They're coming out of debt. They don't fear about the future. Level 3, they have a steady job. They're no longer in debt. They have around £10,000 saved. Level 4, you're not in debt. You have 200,000 pounds saved. You can afford vacation. Level 5, you have this. You have your business. You can even take loan. Level 6, generational wealth. So there are different levels of wealth. Wherever you think you are, there's a next level. The Bible says that godliness with contentment is great gain, but also know that wherever you are, there's a next level. There are projects waiting for you to fund. There are some things that your money will answer. Okay. So wherever you are, it's not a time to say, okay, I've arrived. Okay, I've made it. There's a next level. Press on. Okay. This is not to put pressure on you, but it's also to tell us that sometimes, probably as immigrants, we stop at ourselves. Okay, I can afford this, I can afford that. And we forget about generational, even financial literacy for our children. My children, they watch my YouTube channel because as I'm teaching others, or not as I'm learning and sharing with others, my ministry starts with them first. See, you can't make all the money, hustle, suffer from Nigeria, and then your children just come and just waste everything. No, legacy it should be enduring. You should pass on that knowledge to your children. My daughter has listened to Rich Dad Poor Dad at the age of 7. She has listened to the audiobook. She asked me, "Mommy, play it again for me." She watches my videos on my YouTube channel. So it doesn't just stop with you, but your children, your nieces, your nephew, legacy. Okay. All right. Faith and finance. I think I've woven this in the midst of my talk. I've talked about giving. I've talked about being generous with your finances because it's not just for us, for us, for us. Those finances were committed unto us to help others, to fund the gospel, to build projects, to give scholarships. Yeah, I'm a recipient of scholarships, and I don't joke with giving, and I don't joke with any ministry that aligns with scholarships, helping those on campus. Okay, I've enjoyed it up until PhD, even up until now. I'm giving back. All right, so stewardship, what was given to you, we need to pass it on, pay it forward. Wisdom, integrity, generosity, integrity. One of the books I read said, guard your reputation at all costs. Okay, your reputation, don't joke with it. Integrity, be a person of your word. In business, I think your integrity is even the highest asset you can have. You say you do this by this time and you do it. You are known for that. Generosity, legacy. So I think a lot of legacy also anchors on our faith as Christians or not, depending on, yeah, because I know this is going to go on my YouTube channel. So anyone, your next action plan, please make up your mind to track your money, create your budget, automate, automate, automate. Don't rely on your willpower. Set up a system that works. Build an emergency fund, start investing. Let me just start investing depending on where you are in your journey. If you are still, let's say, depends. I'm not here to tell people what to do. No, I'm not a financial advisor, but I would say no matter where you are in your journey, there's nothing too small to put somewhere. £5, like I said, a cup of coffee. Just leave it there. Don't look at it. Just forget it. Okay. Keep learning. Always do your own research before you buy any investments, anything. Do your own research. Don't rely on person A said it. My friend said. Please don't go with the crowd. Do your own research. Keep learning. Books. YouTube is a whole university. YouTube is like I know people who don't pay for Netflix. They don't pay for Prime. They canceled it and they are paying for their YouTube premium subscription. You learn everything from YouTube. Apostle Joshua Selman said, what are you people doing in this koinonia? YouTube is a university. What are you doing? I cannot be wasting my anointing on you. YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. Listen to podcasts, okay? And always make sure that the person you're listening to knows road. Nigeria will say, follow who know road. Yeah, there are lots of noise too on YouTube or other social media platform, not just YouTube. So make sure the person you're listening to, you can track their success, there's evidence of what they're saying or whatever. Okay, I'm going to point you to resources that have helped me. I've mentioned him as I've been talking, Martin Lewis, money saving expert. This slide is going to be shareable. So when I pass it on to Tim to give to you, you would see you can click on this link if you don't know him and it will take you to his website. Qualified financial advisors. Okay. Books I recommend Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Psychology of Money, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. I love this number 3 book a lot. The Richest Man in Babylon, The Art of Spending Money, and Die with Zero. There are 2 messages I'm going to recommend on Black Tax by Apostle Femi Lazarus. He preached this message December 2023. It's saved in my playlist on YouTube. I always refer people back to those messages in my own personal playlist, but I've added the link there. It's on Spheres of Lights and Apostle Femi Lazarus YouTube. So I don't have any right to the videos, but I've put the link there for you to go and watch it. It had part 1 and part 2. So his message is saying, nobody said we should not help, we should help, but don't try to pull people up and then you now drown with them. Sometimes you have to help, but help in a way that you won't go back down to those who you're helping while you're pulling people down. Don't let them drag you down. Yeah, that's what the message is about. Okay, it's a very powerful message. I do tend to go back and listen to it over and over again. On this note, Yes, on this note, I've come to the end of this talk. I'm so grateful to Tim for giving me this opportunity to share what I've learned, the mistakes I've made, things that have helped me. One of the advice I would drop is audit your friend circle. If you notice that when you're around someone, you're always spending, you're always doing this, the person never talks about this, that investment is everything, spend, soft life. Audit your friend circle. I'm not saying burn bridges, but you can quietly not decide not to be influenced by that person, depending on where the stage of your life is. At this stage of my life, I think I want friends that are telling me, let's vacation. That's the stage I am. But 5 years ago, I was not there. I did not want someone influencing me in that way. Why am I vacationing? There's so many things to build. So depending on the stage of your life you are, please audit your circle, people that have influence on you. All right? Don't burn bridges, please. You can just quietly mute. We call it mute. Just mute and just snooze out until you are ready for that again and you go back into that circle. Okay? Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if this resonates with you. If you want to learn about lifelong learning, books, a little bit of science here and there, investments, career pivoting, career squiggling, personal development. All my videos, I always recommend books in them. Please subscribe. If this doesn't resonate with you, it's okay. You don't need to subscribe. But I think Tim is going to recirculate this. Maybe he's going to circulate it to you, the recording. I'm also going to upload it on my channel. I'm going to blow out all the names that are appearing here. Don't worry about privacy. I'll do that. But please, if there's one thing you took away from here, please read. Reading takes you to the world of authors. Things you don't need to make every mistake. Why are you making money mistake? It's already in more than 1,000 books. Please just read the books. There's some mistakes that we've made. Yes, we will make mistakes in life, but there's some mistakes that we don't even need to make that they've been written or people have lived those experiences. So if there's something I want you to take back is that your mind moves before your pocket moves. You can't expand more. You can't. So my friend dropped a video on YouTube, growth before expansion. You can't expand more than your capacity. And that capacity comes by reading. You broaden books that were written 100 years ago. If your husband or your wife tells you, you're spending too much, this thing is expensive. Yes, richest man in Babylon is telling you the same thing. He doesn't know who you are. If you will not listen to your wife, does the author know you? So books are neutral. They remove bias. I listen. See, me, I can be stubborn sometimes. When my husband talk, when I read books, and I'm like, this thing he was saying, but I will not shall tell him, Shabu, it's true. You see, change is coming because the author does not know me, does not know I exist. The book was written maybe 100 years ago or 10 years ago. The person is in America or Australia, and he's giving feedback on something that I've noticed is a weakness or something I should improve in. So I take it seriously because now there's no relationship bias in that feedback. There's no truth bias. There's no trigger. Nothing is triggering me. It's not my husband. It's not my friend. There's no bias. He doesn't know me, and I take it. Okay, so please, if there's anything you would take, books, study, learn from people's mistakes. And on this note, I'm going to hand over to Tim to run the Q&A. I'm sorry for eating into your time. I think a lot of the time went for me trying to set up on YouTube. So thank you so much for listening. I think it's okay to stop sharing my slides now, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Chidinma. Um, so at this point, we would like to give time for questions for some people that have specific questions. Some of the things that have been touched on, you probably want her to do kind of maybe deep dive into some of the things that she has said, maybe in terms of investments, in terms of savings, um, maybe you have some specific questions. But before then, I think I would like you to share light on some. I think I spoke to you about NSNI premium bond. If you can talk about that, is part of savings vehicle in this country. If you can
Oh,
talk about
okay.
that, please. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just that I was trying to be careful not to recommend any, but it's okay. So
Okay.
NSNI premium bonds. So it's more or less you put money, it's run by the government, HM Treasury. So I think you can deposit 25 pounds every minimum. That's what you can put at a time. But what the maximum you can hold there is 50,000 pounds. So what does it mean? If you are Nigerian or wherever you are from, we are from different places. So we have FGN bonds, Federal Government of Nigerian bonds, and then the yield maybe is 20%, 15%. So you get a yield higher than probably the interest rates in banks. But with NSNI, it's premium bonds in that your interest is not paid, is not given to you. Rather, the interest is collated in a pool. Everyone's interest is collated, and then um, people are giving money from that. So two people can win more, £1 million in every month. Then I think 50 people can win £100,000, and the rest get 50K, 20K. So in a way, I don't really consider it an investment because that £10,000, if it's put in Nvidia, for instance, or any other high performing stock or growth stock, in the next 10 years, that's like maybe it might outperform someone who just held that £10,000 in premium bonds. But I recommend it in that it's a way of diversifying your investment portfolio. And it's a less risky way because it's owned and backed by HM Treasury in the UK. So for me, when I started my finance journey, went from savings, mortgage. The next thing for me was premium bonds. And then I moved into stocks and shares and then maybe property for. Do you understand? So it's less risky, very less risky than stocks. And your money is not going anywhere. It's guaranteed by the government. But also note, you are not getting interest on it. If you don't win anything, what's the rate? 1 in 22 chances of winning. If you don't win anything, then so it's a trade-off. But for me, I do it because if there's any chance that I'm going to win 1 million, I'm grabbing that chance. So that's what NS&I is. And you can open it for your children. So if you have children, you can open for them. Some people in this country, once their children are born, the first gift they get from their parents is premium bonds. That's the first thing their parents buy. Premium bonds started in the year 1960, 1961 or so. That's when it started in the UK. Some people have had it for what's 1960 now, 40, 50 years. Some people are old and they've had premium bonds. They're £1 check when they were born. So it's a big legacy in the UK. They don't joke with their premium bonds. So it's just for you to have an understanding of everything available out there. There's premium bonds, there's self-invested personal pension, like I mentioned, SIP. There's ISAs. In the UK, that's your tax vehicle, a tax efficient way to save and to invest. Every year you have maximum of 20,000 to put in an ISA, which comprises either cash ISA, lifetime ISA, or cash ISA, lifetime ISA, stocks and shares ISA. Okay, lifetime ISA, you have to open it before you turn 40 in the UK. Please, if you are less than 40, go and open your lifetime ISA. It helps you in buying your first house, or you can withdraw from it when you retire from. How does lifetime ISA work? Whatever you put there, the government tops up 25% of it. Come on, you're getting back your tax. Okay, so but you cannot put more than £4,000 there in every year. Self-invested personal pension SIP. How does it work? Whatever you put there, the government matches 25% every year. Remember that because it's a pension pot, combined with your workplace pension and any other pension, you cannot exceed 60,000 deposits every year. Everywhere you have it, like all together. So whatever you put there, the government matches again 25% for you. It just comes into your account. You don't even need to claim anything. Just relax, even in lifetime ISA. And those who are high income earners, those who earn above £50,000, whatever you put there, you can get up to 40% back from the government. You'd get that after your self-assessment, okay? So if you are a high income earner, you are earning 100K, 150K, 50K and above, you are even going to get back 40%. Not you will get the basic 25% back almost instantly. It's automated. And then later on, you can when you do your self-assessment, you get the additional 15%. So please look at all these tax efficient. Why are you paying tax when you can get it back just by being disciplined, automate. Lifetime ISA gives 25% back. SIP gives you this. You can now even invest if you put £20,000 in, let's say, stocks and shares. Everything you make from there is tax free. Why are you going to be packing shifts if you can commit towards let's say investing or trading? Why would you need to pack shifts? All you need to do is to commit to understanding the stock markets. So, for instance, there's a video I dropped on my YouTube channel yesterday that not all skills are to be monetizable, are to be monetized. I can make hair, I can bake meat pie, I can do this, I can edit videos. But how much? I will spend 8 hours making meat pie and you pay me £80. You have to grade your skills, audit your skills. What can I do? What can I learn now that will reward me better in the future? Why? So most times as immigrants, because we want to put food on the table now, which is not bad. We want to send money home. We are packing shifts. We are doing that. We are doing this, making hair. That's not bad. But don't forget, long term, what is the highest potential? What can my knowledge bring me? Go and pluck those high fruits. And it's not to say that we can't put food on our table. We can still make hair. We can still do that. But we should now start thinking long term. What is low effort but high yield for us as we grow, as we mature? All right. Thank you.
Wow. I think that's more response. That's so many things inside it already. So I think she has talked about LISA, that's lifetime savings account. I think is it lifetime individual savings account? I think that's
Yeah,
the meaning of
lifetime
LISA.
individual savings account, lifetime
Yeah.
ISA.
And then there is a SIP. What's the
Self-invested personal pension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so why I'm trying to repeat this is so that for some people that did not take the notes, you can take the notes and do some more digging on it to have
Yes,
more
please.
information.
Go to the gov.uk website, go to NS&I, National Savings and I, you see premium bonds. The government SIP, the government, they want to give you back a 25%. The only thing is that you can't touch. See, once money enters that SIP, you can't touch it till you're 55, I think. Once money enters LISA, you can only touch it when you're buying your first house or when you're 55. So only put money that you don't need at all. You will need it in the next, I'm in my 30s now. I won't need it till I'm in my 50s. So I put money there. So if you can't max it out, please don't put money you will need tomorrow. You cannot withdraw money from SIP or LISA. Is entered unless you're buying your first house for LISA. But the government wants to give you back your tax, okay? Can collect it back, tax efficient. Why will I be even looking for more sheets when I can collect back my tax from the government? I sit down and cross my leg, okay?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Um, so does anybody have any question yet? You can use the reaction tab and then put your hands up. So while we're waiting for questions. I think I have another thing I would like you to talk to us about. So you've spoken about investing, and some of us really find it difficult following the markets and even to understand the markets. It's an issue for some of us. With the kind of work that some of us do, we are not able to follow up with news, what's going on in the news and all that. Can you talk us through
Yeah.
kind of simple way, and you've also talked about automating it, kind of simple ways that we could start investing, even if it's five
Okay.
pound, like we've said, even if
Okay.
it's £5, for
Mm.
some of us that probably are not, we're not
Yeah.
earning
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Even if it's £5 that want to start investing, how can we really automate it without
Okay.
as like for a dummy, basically, that
Yeah.
we don't know anything? How can we
Okay.
invest £5 every
Yeah.
month?
So I've talked about automating, but it's good to also talk about how to do it. So in the UK, there are lots of verified and FSCS backed investment platforms. I'm going to list as many as I know. Please go and do your research and choose which ones to do. We have eToro, we have AJ Bell, we have Hargreaves and Lansdowne, we have Trading 212, we have Moneybox, we have Interactive Brokers, we have Fidelity, we have Vanguard, we have IG. Which one have I forgotten now? There are lots of them. So what you can do is go and research. Maybe I want to buy Lifetime ISA. Which one is best for me? What are their platform fees? Then all of them can be automated. All you need to do is maybe copy the bank account it will be paying. Like the instructions are clear on whichever platform you're using, and most times they tell you when they are going to take it from your account. So just make sure that that £5 or £10 is there in your account. Just when they pay you salary, have your spreadsheet. This one automate all your bills too. Please automate your bills so that you just know how much is being left. You leave it there. You don't even need to think about it. When they want, they just take it and deposit it for you. Premium bonds too. You can also set up direct debits for premium bonds if you want to keep investing monthly in premium bonds. The maximum you can max out is 50,000. My own amount, automating your investing. You don't have to think about it. You choose which platform you want. If it's eToro or AJBL, you automate it and say and tell them how much they will take, and then tell them which stocks you want them to invest it in. And if you're not keeping up with the stock market, like Tim mentioned, you don't know which stocks to buy, that's fine. They've even made the job easy for you. They have what they call ETFs, exchange traded funds, or index funds, which is maybe a group of companies in one sector, or a group of maybe the top 500 companies in US. They have those funds or indexes or already made pension plans, like in SIP, they have already made pension plans. They will tell you past earnings or past returns is not a guarantee for future earnings. It's just a guide. Okay, maybe it will earn you 10, it will compound 10%. So you now choose based on your risk tolerance. Some banks might tell you, are you adventurous or are you low level risk? What's your risk appetite? Are you high risk, high reward? Then you go for the highest risk portfolio already made for you. So like Tim asked, if you don't follow the market, you don't know anything, it's fine. The banks and the platforms, they've done that job for you. They've set up different funds or different policies based on risk, what they consider to be risk appetite or risk tolerance. So if you're low risk, low reward, you go for the low one, you'll see it on all their platforms. If you're medium risk, medium reward, you go for the mid. If you're high risk, high reward, because you can afford to lose all the money, you don't care, then you go for the high risk, high reward. Okay, so if you don't follow the stock market and you don't know which stocks to buy, there are funds there that have been set up. There are emerging market funds, there are semiconductor funds, there are ETFs, there are commodities that the commodity ETF that are tracking gold, silver, coffee, cocoa, oil. You don't need to think about it; they auto invest for you. So it depends, but to an extent, you need to also do a little bit of research. You need to say, okay, this is my risk tolerance. Can I afford to lose this money? You need to say, okay, I use iPhone a lot. I use these gadgets a lot. Okay, I want to buy tech companies. You also need to know what you want to buy. I hope I've answered the question, Tim.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I don't know. I've not gotten any notification.
Okay.
Another question another thing I would like you to touch on would be you spoke about having emergency fund,
Mm,
right? And so what kind of vehicles can we put those emergency funds? Is
okay.
it just based on your experience, is it just putting it out on in savings accounts that is returning like I think averagely now savings account is doing 3 to 4%?
Yeah.
Or is there any kind of safer place we can put it apart from just savings accounts?
So if you listen to financial advisors like Martin Lewis or anybody, they will tell you to let it be available, but let it be returning something for you. So some people will recommend put it in a high interest savings account. It's the general consensus from financial advisors is high interest savings account that is accessible, not fixed.
In terms of protection, you also mentioned protection.
Mm,
So how do we go about the protection? So protection basically would be insurance,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um,
And risk too. Yeah. Insurance, yes.
okay, yes. So in terms of insurance, so how do we go about it? Maybe, for instance, you want to insure yourself towards, say, if you lose your job or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So, what's your advice or what's your experience on that
Okay.
regard?
So for insurance, especially if you have a mortgage, this becomes very handy. When we're buying a house, so the mortgage advisor, the moment we were like the deal was exchange was complete, they're passing you over to insurance people. So there's something called mortgage protection. It protects you in case so it depends on how much you are willing to pay for that insurance. For some people, they just want to pay for illness or critical illness cover and all that. Some people go ahead as saying, okay, I have the premium to pay for even if I lose a job, at least the first 6 months, my mortgage protection will cover it. So yeah, for so again, before you start paying for this insurance, it's also good to know what you can get from workplace. For some people's workplace, they have severance package in the sense that if they terminate them, your contract says that you will be paid 3 months off. So that is already an insurance, isn't it? Because if you will not be left hanging, if your last pay is not your last pay, then it's insurance because it gives you time to. So one of the things a mortgage advisor or anybody will tell you is make sure you're not duplicating insurance everywhere. For instance, in my home insurance cover, again, apart from mortgage insurance, when you buy a home or even as a tenant, you're paying insurance, right? In case there's a damage, whether contents insurance or building insurance or whatever. So that's insurance. So it's going to tell you, make sure you're not paying duplicates of insurance everywhere. For instance, if I have a phone here and I'm traveling with it, my mortgage, my home insurance covers this phone even when I'm traveling. So when I'm traveling and I'm going on vacation, why are you buying another insurance that is covering just this phone? Do you understand? So I'm just using it as an example. But travel insurance, as we know, does not just cover phone. It covers loss of life. It covers other valuables. So the idea is that let's say you go and buy this. Say, can you do care, whatever, whatever, for 1 year? You have to check this phone. Is it already insured in my home insurance? So if, in as much as we are saying insure things, make sure you are not leaking funds or have those holes in your pockets by duplicating insurance. Okay. So you can insure even your home contents building is supposed to be insured because if anything happens to it, if it gets flooded or there's a fire incident, God forbid, there should be a pause that is paying for it. I know you just needed to do just to pay them £20 home insurance every month or the yearly one. Your car insurance, you're driving a car. Of course, in the UK, this one, but the third party is the one that is legal, I think. We'll go ahead and do even the other, go to do insure. It just takes a little here and there, but eventualities, God forbid, if they happen, the insurance is there to help. So yeah, there are lots of insurance. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Thank you
Also,
for
another
that.
thing I wanted to mention,
Mhm.
for instance, car insurance, I think it covers you, let's say your garage and all. Make sure that when you're now doing home insurance, you're not duplicating the insurance that the car insurance is covering you for. So the level of cover you select, make sure you're not leaking because the more you insure, the more money goes out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you for that. Um, does anyone have any question yet? You said that we understand everything that is being said, or
We
you don't even
understand nothing.
understand nothing, and
I hope
that's why you
we
can't even ask
understand
questions.
everything.
So I want to believe that
So
we
there's a
understood
question in the
everything.
chat. Says, thank you for the balanced presentation. Can you recommend some books about investing?
Okay.
Hmm. I think it's finance because the books I've read, they cover finance, habits, and also The Richest Man in Babylon will tell you pay yourself first. So once money comes in, before automate it so that you also pay yourself means pay yourself, invest in your future. So Richest Man in Babylon, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Rich Dad Poor Dad, 24 Rules of Money, Psychology of Money, The Art of Spending, I think. Sorry. So there are lots of books on finance which are really good and balanced. Even there's another book I like, Die with Zero. So we think about making money, but from sometimes we forget how to actually live well, travel, vacation, okay? It's telling you that yes, let's say you're waiting till you're 55 so that you can have all your millions from all your investments. But when you're 55, you can't do bungee jumping, you can't do skydiving, you can't do scuba diving, you can't do skiing. You've missed out those experiences because you waited. So in as much as we are delaying gratification, but also we do it wisely, we get those experiences because when we are older, the things we can do are limited if God blesses us with long life. So yes, Die with Zero is a book that tells you how to live even whatever your means are, however, how to get good experiences with as much money as you have. Don't
Okay.
delay it until you hammer.
All right.
And there's another book people recommend, Your Money or Your Life. That's another good one too. Yeah.
All right. So I believe we've noticed some of those things. So what did he say? Thanks for presentation.
Oh, where do you get free
Free book.
audiobooks?
Okay.
Okay, so there's a video on my YouTube channel where to find free audiobooks. So I'll just give a summary. Libby. So as a taxpayer in the UK, whoever is in the UK, you can download even UK, US, Canada, developed countries. The government pays for the library app called Libby, Libby, Libby. Download it, register with your details, register with your county library. Okay, and most 40 to 50% of my book reads are from there. I go there. First of all, I look, is the book there? You have to borrow it and return it back audiobooks are there, ebooks are there. You can also borrow hard copy, go to your library. But I listen to audiobooks because I have children. I don't have time to read hard copy books now. So audiobooks have worked for me. That's how I've been able to read over 90 books in 2 years. So Libby, Libby, is free. It's funded by your taxpayer money. So you can read, you can get that volume, that education you need there. You have 21 days to read and return. There are audiobooks there, ebooks, hard copy books you can borrow too. Another way is so let's say towards the end of the month, Amazon and Spotify will not like me. They start giving you, you can get 2 months free premium on Spotify. I usually use them, but I remember to cancel. I set my alarm, cancel on so and so date, or you can get them and cancel immediately. They will still allow you to use it for those 2 months. You can also Audible. Sometimes they will give you maybe if you're a Prime member or not. Prime Amazon Prime does not cover Audible, which is can be annoying, but that is their business model. So you can get those free trials towards the end of the month. You lash on you go grab them. Please cancel immediately or set an alarm because otherwise you're going to be paying for them if you don't have the funds or whatever. Another way is YouTube. If you go to YouTube now and type any book you want legally, 70% of books are on YouTube, audiobooks. I have a playlist for a lot of audiobooks on YouTube. Okay. Sometimes you can also like PDFs can also exist. Maybe a friend has it, they can borrow you. Um, PDFs, if you get a copy of a book, you can use Adobe Read Aloud function so that you can read it aloud if you prefer audiobooks. Because when I have e-copies, I use Read Aloud function. And then because I want to invest in my growth, there are some books that I actually buy. Okay, I buy it and I leave it in my Audible. I want it to stay there. I don't want to, because when you borrow it, you can return it before if I want to read it immediately. So when you want to commit to your growth, £8, pay it, buy that book. Okay. Sometimes we buy that or hard copy, let it sit in your shelf, So when you want to invest in your growth, yes, you look for free books so that you get volume and a wider world view, broaden your horizon. Then the ones that this is me, this book was written for me. You can grab that copy. Okay. That's how I would recommend it. Okay, I
All
don't think I've
right.
forgotten anyone. Yeah. And please track your reading. Have a spreadsheet. Book number one, I've read this, tick it off when you read it. You like some books on leadership. I've told myself, okay, when I get to senior management, I'm going to go back to those books. So read them, make comments when you should, or not just reading it for reading sake. Sometimes I read book twice, 3 times, even in a year. Next year, I go back and read those books again. So either you use a spreadsheet or if you don't have that your willpower or energy, you can use the Goodread app, Goodreads app. Goodreads app helps you to keep a track on your reading. Great.
Yep. Okay, so we have 9 minutes to the end of this meeting.
Okay.
Probably not use it up. Yeah, unless someone
But
um
please read whatever stage you are in your life. If you have challenges, and when you want to start audiobook, start from the things that are pressing. Maybe your own is, I want to understand this marriage, personal development books, read. If it's finances, that thing that is catching, that thing that is a problem, that's what catches your attention. Psychology, if you're having a lot of, this person, why am I having problems everywhere I go? Why is there always a repeating pattern? Psychology books, understand yourself first, understand human beings, okay? So read. Whatever problem you are facing, someone has written about it.
yeah, that's true. Okay, so in a nutshell, we've been on this call for a while now. So most of the things that we've talked about is around our income,
Yeah,
then paying ourselves first via savings, and then investments,
yeah.
and then um s- protecting the investments. And then we also spoke about um what's it called now? Expenditure. That's the way
Mm,
we spend money. I
mm,
think you mentioned about tracking what you're spending.
mm.
I think there's a saying that if you're not able to measure it, you can't be able to improve it.
Yes,
So you should be able
track,
to track
track,
what
track,
you're.
track. Have a spreadsheet. We have, even till now, I don't consider myself, like I told you, there are different levels of wealth. You think you're in level three, there's level four, there's level five. So wherever you are, where is your money going? At the end of the year, I've not saved anything. Oh, but you did this, you helped this person, you did this project, you saved, you invested. You can't see it, but track, know where it's going. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mlog, can you ask your question, please? Unmute yourself and ask a question. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
thank
have seven
you.
minutes to go.
And good evening. Thank you
Good
for all you've
evening.
shared. I've learned a lot. My question is about the ISA stocks and shares. For the LISA, you said the funds can be touched when one is getting their first house or at
For
the
the
age
for
of
the
55
LISA,
for
yeah,
LISA, yes.
yeah.
So for the stock and shares, is there a fixed time you can take out your funds? Or how does it work?
Oh, okay. For the stocks and shares, the one that is not under LISA or anything, you can take
Yes.
your money whenever you want. Yeah.
Okay. Are there charges?
Um, to take your money?
Yes.
No.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
I thought when you said charges, I thought if you meant there is platform charges. Like for instance, some platforms can charge you 1% just to maintain some charges. So a platform like Trading 212, they only charge you FX fees and that's all. Even though they can be tricky, their spreads can be wide, their margins and all. I don't know if you understand what spread is, but no, there's no charge for taking your money from your stocks and shares, ISA, to the best of my knowledge. No, no, no.
Okay. Something else.
So what I'm trying to say is this: understand yourself. Some people can see all their money in one place and they are disciplined, they are patient enough not to touch it. That's where understanding yourself comes. If you are that person, then you can choose one platform that works for you. In terms of low fees and all, Trading 212 does come up high in the recommendation list, and that's why people use it sometimes more for trading because they can do buy and sell quickly, no charges and all. Yeah, so there are lots of platforms. There's Hybrids and Lansdowne. There's Moneybox is strong on lifetime ISA. There's AJ
Okay.
Bell. There is premium bonds. There's only one place to buy premium bonds, NSNI website. There is
Okay.
which other one now? There is IG, there is Fidelity, there is Vanguard. Vanguard is very good on ETFs. People who buy
Okay.
ETFs. I don't know if they have crypto. There's Robinhood too. Oh, I forgot Robinhood. There's Robinhood. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But whichever one you're using, please make sure you research that is FSCS protected, which means that if that platform goes bust, you will get back. I think now they've made it 120,000
Yeah, I think it's
back.
120
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
At least your whole money. That's part of that insurance too. FSCS is the first insurance we have for our money in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I don't know about anybody, but when I hear people doing Akawu and I join the UK, I'm like, oh dear God, no comments.
There's no insurance.
No comments. No comments from me. I don't. There's no judgments here. We don't do that here. I don't say anything, but I'm like, there's your insurance.
All right. So at the end of this session, this is being recorded and AI Read is also tracking it. So we'll probably get a summary of it and also share it on our WhatsApp page and also a link to the recordings as well. So I think at this point, I've not seen any hand being raised. We can start rounding off. And I believe that it's been a blessing for us. We've taken down some notes
Thank you.
and going to take actions. Remember, even if it's £5, even if it's
Even if it's
£5,
£1.
even if it's
Okay, dear.
depending on the level you are, let's make the effort to start. When you build that habits with £1, by the time your income increases, you're able to increase your savings as you go.
I'll tell you something. I had a friend who, before she moved to the US, she used to buy all these Nvidia, these stocks, and then she said, "I just for £5. What is it now?" She now went back to look at what that money would have done for her. This is 5 years later. She almost cried. She's like, "Kai, just £5." Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. I think we are 27 persons on this call now.
Yeah.
So we'll be rounding off with a word of prayer. So we'll probably have 1 minute back. All right. Thank you, Auntie Chidinma. I used to call her Auntie Ma. She's Dr. Chidinma. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for joining on the call. God bless you immensely. So I'll just be doing a word of prayer as we close. Father, we thank you for all the information that we've gathered. And some of them are things that we've not heard before that we still need to unravel. We ask that you guide us in wisdom, you guide us, Lord, in this knowledge, that we'll be able to act, that we'll be doers, that we'll be able to go back and research and go back and read and see how it applies to us and take actions. We give you glory, we give you praise. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' name we prayed. Amen. Let's share the grace and fellowship. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit rest and abide with us now and forevermore. Amen. And surely God's goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives as we dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Good night, everyone. We meet at 10 o'clock. Bye.